We are making monkey bread out of a childhood recipe my husband had from his mom. We're using a bundt pan, 3 rolls of Pillsbury biscuits, sugar, cinnamon, brown sugar, and a stick of butter. We will bake it in the oven at 350 degrees. I see her recipe says 325. We do a couple different things. We changed the recipe slightly just because we wanted it to bake a little more crispy. So him and Haley are opening up the buttermilk biscuit tubes. If you've ever opened biscuit tubes, you know it's an adventure on itself. Haley has never opened a tube before, so she's having a bit difficulty. Robert's trying to explain to her, like, just punch it. And, you know, they always like, boop, pop. And that's always a surprise. So Robert's trying to help her out. It's not working. Quite the adventure. And then finally he hands it to Haley. She punches it and boom, pops open. So as Robert is cutting each biscuit into quarters, Haley has a Ziploc baggie. It has 1 cup of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon to make the cinnamon sugar. You then shake the quarters in the cinnamon sugar mixture. So at this point we are changing the recipe slightly from what his mom had. Her recipe called for 6 teaspoons of cinnamon. It was too much, so I think with the 2 teaspoons was perfect. So definitely do the teaspoons to taste. I think 2 teaspoons and 1 cup of sugar was perfect. And I think I mentioned we also did not use nuts. Robert's not a huge fan of nuts in his desserts. So anyway, Haley is lining the pan. I did spray the pan ahead of time with butter spray. You definitely want to grease your pan, however you grease your pan. I just use the butter sprays, but you can use like real butter, oil, however you get your pans ready for when you bake. And so yes, this is a good recipe to make with kids. Haley loved tossing the quarters in the cinnamon sugar. Robert enjoyed cutting up the biscuits with scissors. So it's a pretty easy recipe to make like a family activity. And Haley continues to layer the pan, and then the final 2 ingredients was the stick of butter and brown sugar. So I don't have it on camera, but while they're layering the pan, I am melting the 1 stick of butter and the 1 cup of brown sugar on a small saucepan, melting those 2 together to form a syrup. Once Haley is done layering the pan, you then pour the syrup onto the top of the dish. Here is Haley pouring the mixture on. Just try to cover as much of the top of the biscuits that you can. And then you're going to bake it in the oven. We did 350, baked it for 35 minutes. And then after it's baked for 35 minutes, take it out and let it cool on top of the stove for 10 minutes. And then after it cools for 10 minutes, you'll see we flip it onto a cake stand. That's how I like to store it, is in my glass cake stand. So this is right out of the oven, letting it cool for 10 minutes. And now we are getting ready to flip it onto the cake stand. And it came out pretty good. There was a couple pieces that stuck to the bottom of the pan. It happens, even though I sprayed it, it happens. So no biggie, I just took those pieces out and reattached them. So it worked out. And then I had Haley taste test it. She loved it. It was really good. And she is taste testing it, and she's resisting me recording. But she's a good sport. She's a good sport. And she stayed with us for a couple days. It was a great couple of days. So thank you, Haley. Thank you for making monkey bread with us. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. We will see you later. And I hope you're all having a wonderful April.